In today's video, we will be going over every current WWE title holder and predicting who will dethrone them. So yes, we will be going over every champion over on Raw and every champion over on SmackDown and just giving my thoughts on who I think will dethrone them. But at any point in the video, you guys can go to the comment section and leave me your predictions, or you can just leave me your thoughts on my predictions. But before we get anywhere into the video, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and go follow the socials, and the links to those will always be in the description of this video, and that includes Instagram and my X account. But now that that's all out of the way, I think it's time to jump right on into today's video. Alright, so we'll start things off over on Raw, and we will start with the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Obviously, the current holder is a heel Becky Lynch. I've enjoyed Becky's reign so far. I've really enjoyed this heel run with Becky Lynch and the title. But obviously, it's going to eventually have to come to an end, and I have predicted that Natalya will be the one to dethrone Becky Lynch. Obviously, currently, Becky Lynch is having a feud with Nikki Bella at Clash at Paris. They're going to have a match for the title. Obviously, I think Becky Lynch is going to retain from Nikki Bella, but after that, I feel like they're going to explore Becky and Natalya. Now, the reason why I believe that is because on this past episode of Raw, we had an interaction with Becky and Natalya where Natalya was pissed at Becky because of how she talked to Nikki Bella. And for that reason, I think after this whole Becky and Nikki situation is done, I feel like they will explore more with the idea with Becky versus Natalya, and that would obviously lead into a new champion, obviously that being Natalya. That's where I think things will go, and that's who I think will take the title off of Becky. This one could really be a shot in the dark, but really there's not many other people that I can really think about right now, because Lyra Valkyria and Becky have just got done feuding, and Lyra Valkyria is probably going to go into feuding with Bayley most likely. So you can't even consider Becky or Bayley, because if we could, I would probably argue maybe Bayley would dethrone Becky, but she's doing other things. And I mean, with that left, I mean, there's really only a select few women, but inevitably, I think I'm going to have to stick with Natalya here. So that is who I predict who will dethrone Becky Lynch for the Women's Intercontinental Championship, which is obviously Natalya. Alright, next up, we will jump into the Men's Intercontinental Championship. The current holder, obviously, is Dirty Dominic Mysterio, and he has just had a match with AJ Styles at SummerSlam, where Dominic Mysterio obviously retained. And honestly, I don't think they're going to let up on this whole Dominic Mysterio versus AJ Styles. I don't think they're going to let up on this storyline. They're going to continue with this. So for that reason, I predict that AJ Styles will dethrone Dominic Mysterio. That is just the most obvious thing. Even after SummerSlam, AJ and Dom they've continued to build more for that. Like I said on this past episode of Raw, there were still interaction with AJ Styles and Dominic Mysterio in the Judgment Day. So for that reason, they're definitely continuing with AJ Styles and Dominic Mysterio and the Intercontinental title. So eventually, this is going to have to lead to AJ Styles most likely winning the title here. I don't see next time these two have a match, I do not see Dominic winning. I honestly thought AJ was going to win at SummerSlam. He didn't. But inevitably, man, I think the next time Dominic Mysterio and AJ Styles have a match, that is where AJ Styles will win the Men's Intercontinental title. And I'm all for it, man. I'm a big fan of AJ. He's kind of one of the reasons I started kind of watching. So I'd love to see AJ Styles win the title, man. And it's just pretty obvious, I think. They're continuing to build that. They're not letting up on this storyline, so there's no way that they don't let AJ Styles take the title from Dominic Mysterio at some point in this feud. It only makes sense, and I mean, I really can't make an argument for anybody else to take the title off of Dominic Mysterio except for AJ Styles. So that is my prediction: AJ Styles will dethrone Dominic Mysterio. Alright, and then we will jump into the tag division over on Raw, which is the World Tag Team titles. The current holders of these are the Judgment Day, which includes Finn Balor and JD McDonough. And honestly, we've had the same rotation of title holders for the tag titles over on Raw. It rotates literally between the Judgment Day and the War Raiders. Let's be honest, it barely goes to anybody else. And the one tag team that I think really I don't know if you really want to go with deserves, but it's more of just like I would like to see them as champions. That's going to, for me, have to be the Creed brothers. Now, I know a lot of people are probably going to be like, the Creed brothers, I mean, it's just me personally, man. I would love to see the Creed brothers be champions just to see what they can do, man. Honestly, I've kind of wanted them to be champions for a minute, but it hasn't happened. So I'm gonna go with my prediction here with the Creed brothers. It's just something I want to see. Maybe if they do get the titles, it's not going to be a good reign, fine. But it's just something I want to test. I want WWE to try out, test out. I mean, I don't know, man. It's just something that I think I would personally enjoy. So therefore, I predict it. I mean, you could make an argument for the LWO to take the titles off of Judgment Day. That would be a great argument because LWO has been getting more involved in the whole tag title division recently, so you can make an argument for the LWO. But inevitably, man, I think I'm just gonna have to go Creed Brothers because that's just something I want to see. And I mean, LWO can win, fine. That's perfectly fine. I'm not gonna be mad. But I would just I would just prefer to see Creed Brothers. They're just people I want to see champions. I want to see as champions, man. But yeah, that is who I predict will take these World Tag Team titles. All right, now we jump into the big titles, the Men's World Championship. And obviously, the current holder of this is Seth Rollins. And man, his title reign is definitely going to be decently long, man. His title reign is not going to be a short reign there's no way. He's definitely going to have this title for a while. But once this title reign comes to an end, I think it's going to come to an end because LA Knight, I predict, is going to take this title off of Seth Rollins, man. This is just something that I think a lot of people want to see, including myself, and we've wanted to see for a while now. You can make an argument for CM Punk to take this title off of Seth Rollins because Seth Rollins just cashed in on CM Punk at SummerSlam. But inevitably, man, I really want to see LA Knight take this title, man. I really think LA Knight deserves a world title run. I would love to see it. So inevitably, I think they're going to go with LA Knight here. If they don't, man, that's going to be unfortunate. And even if they don't directly go with LA Knight after Seth Rollins, maybe they go with CM Punk after Seth Rollins. I think even after they do that, it's definitely gonna go to LA Knight even after that, man. So inevitably, man, I think LA Knight is going to win this title here. Like I said, it's going to be a minute because there's no way Seth Rollins is gonna have a short reign. I think Seth Rollins is easily gonna have a world title reign at least to the Royal Rumble, but even maybe past Royal Rumble, man. I could definitely see that. Maybe all the way up until WrestleMania, man. I don't know. I think it's definitely a possibility though with this title reign on Seth. Which is fine by me. I'm a big fan of Seth Rollins, so I'm not gonna. I'm not mad that he's probably gonna hold this title for a minute. But just inevitably, I hope it does go to LA Knight. I think he deserves it, and he's just like I said, he's just somebody I wanted to see as champion for a while, man. He's a great in-ring worker. He's so over with the fans, man. So it definitely just makes sense for this title to go to LA Knight at some point. And I think that's most likely going to be after Seth's world title reign. But then again, we'll always have to wait and see. But my final prediction is LA Knight. All right, and wrapping it up over on Raw, we do have the Women's World Championship. The current holder of this is Mrs. Proceed with Caution Naomi, a heel Naomi, I should say, and she is the current champion. And her current feud going on is with Stephanie Vaquer. I would really like to see Stephanie Vaquer win, but I just don't think that's going to happen. Really, literally, Naomi's title reign has practically just started. Naomi's only had one defense, so there's no way they're going to already give this title up off of Naomi. Like I said, I'd love to see Stephanie Vaquer win, but that's not my prediction just because there's no way they give this title up on Naomi this early. I mean, the title reign has probably started. I mean, she won at Evolution. It's probably only been like a month, maybe, if that. Literally, if that. But so she has this current feud with Stephanie Vaquer. I just don't think Stephanie's going to win. I think Naomi's going to retain from that. But inevitably, man, I think we're going to see the return of Bianca Belair, and she's going to come back and feud with Naomi and take the title off of Naomi. I don't know when that's going to be, so don't quote me on that, or don't try to ask me that because I don't really know. I haven't really thought about that much. But I think inevitably, man, Bianca Belair is going to come back, obviously as a face, and she is going to take the title off of Naomi. This feud has been, the Bianca Belair and Naomi situation has been building for a minute now, ever since Elimination Chamber, and even before that, with all the Jade Cargill stuff, with Naomi attacking Jade Cargill. So, I mean, this has been building for a while. There's going to obviously have to be a payoff, and hopefully I think the payoff is going to have Bianca Belair returning and taking this title off of Naomi. Honestly, I don't know. I think a lot of people would like to see Bianca Belair as champion. I mean, I know I would. I'm not saying I don't like Naomi. I mean, I've never been the biggest fan of Naomi, but I can be honest. I think her as champion is needed and deserved. but I mean, I just haven't been the biggest fan of Naomi, so when she loses, I'm not going to be upset. Would I really like to see Bianca win? Would I really like to see Bianca as champion again? Not really, but that's just really the route that I think WWE is going to take. Inevitably, I really want Stephanie to win. That's just not who I think is going to win the title anytime soon. So I am going to have to say they're going to go with Bianca Belair. That's not really who I want, like I said. I just inevitably think Bianca Belair is going to return and take this title off of Naomi. It really only makes sense, and I just don't see it really going any other way in the time being, man. So my final prediction that WWE is going to take is that Bianca Belair is going to return, and she will take the title off of Naomi. Alright, so that did wrap up the red brand, but now we jump over to the blue brand of SmackDown, and we will start with the Women's United States Championship, and the current holder of this obviously being Julia. And honestly, man, there really has not been major feuds with this title while Julia has held it. The really only major thing has been with Zelina Vega, but I think they're stepping away from that, so we haven't really had much. But man, I mean, I guess inevitably I'm going to have to say Michin here, because on this previous episode of SmackDown, we had a segment where Julia had given or I think it's Kiana James, who is running with Julia currently, had given a card to Jade Cargill, but then Michin came in and asked, maybe can I have that card if you're not going to use it? And the card was to pretty much get like a title shot, basically. So that was inevitably given to Michin, and then Michin had said, well, I'm going to go get myself a title shot. So from there, I guess I'm going to have to go Michin. I mean, there really has not been major build for this title, man, so I really cannot be 100% on what I predict, just because there's not much to talk about here, man. They have not done great with building this title on Julia, honestly. I mean, the Zelina Vega thing was fine. I did enjoy most of it, but now what do we do after? You always got to keep moving forward. They really have not done so since. So, but I guess inevitably, man, I'm going to have to go with Michin. I mean, I'm not mad about going with Michin. It's just, I mean, I guess that's just what I think they're going to go with for right now. But we'll have to wait and see, and I'm really not 100% on this, but it's just what I'm going to have to say for now. So, for now, I will say Michin will dethrone Julia for the Women's United States Championship. Alright, and then we jump into the Men's United States Championship. The current holder of this is Solo Sikoa, and he has been feuding with Jacob Fatu and Jimmy Uso and all that, and with all that MFT and Bloodline situation that they have going on. Inevitably, though, I think this title will go to Jimmy Uso. I want to say that because I feel like it is time. We've given one Uso a singles title reign. I think it's time to give the other one a singles titles reign. Obviously, Solo got this title at Night of Champions from Jacob Fatu. He dethroned Jacob Fatu. I don't think it's going to go back to Jacob Fatu just yet. I think at some point it will. But after Solo Sikoa, I think it's going to jump to Jimmy Uso. It makes sense. I personally would love to see it. I mean, if it really goes to Jacob Fatu, man, I'm not going to be mad. I like both of these guys. I like Jacob Fatu and Jimmy Uso, man. So if it goes to Jacob Fatu, I'm not going to be mad. But inevitably, I just think they're going to go with Jimmy Uso. It seems like more of the right choice to go with here. Like I said, we've given one Uso a title reign, a singles title reign. We need to give another one. We need to give the other half a singles titles reign. It really makes sense to do it here. There's no better time to capitalize on giving Jimmy Uso a single title reign. Except for now, man. They've really been building for it over the past few months, and I think now is really the time to pay it off, man. And so hopefully Jimmy Uso does take this title off of Solo. I think that is just what they will go with. I would love to see it. I think a lot of other people would love to see it, man. So that is my final prediction for the Men's United States Championship. I'm going with Jimmy Uso. All right, next up, we jumped in to the seriously stacked men's tag division over on SmackDown, man. This tag division the tag titles can really go so many ways, but the current holders are the Wyatt Six. We've just had a crazy match at SummerSlam, a TLC tag match with every team pretty much in the SmackDown tag division, and inevitably, though, Wyatt Six was able to retain. But after that, I think at some point it's going to go to Fraxium. This is mainly I would personally just like to see Fraxium as champions, so that's why I predict them. I think they're great in ring, and I think they are people that do deserve tag titles at some point, and I think after the Wyatt Six, they're going to go with Fraxium. So I'm going to say Fraxium. Really, it could go so many other ways though because of how many teams there are over on the SmackDown Tag Division. Just inevitably, I would personally like to see more of the Fraxium route, see what they can do with titles. I think they'd be awesome. They're like I said, man, they're great in ring. They've always stood out to me ever since they came over on the SmackDown Tag Division. So I would love to see Fraxium as the champions at some point, and I think at some point is going to be after the Wyatt 6 title reign. So that is my final prediction for the WWE Tag titles. It is Fraxium. All right, next up, we jump into the women's tag titles, which includes the current holders, which are Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. They have just defeated the Judgment Day at SummerSlam. And on this previous episode of SmackDown after SummerSlam, we've had the introduction of the Secret Service into the women's tag title division. So for that reason, I think this one's pretty obvious. It's probably going to be at some point the Secret Service does dethrone Alexa and Charlotte. When that's going to be, I'm not too sure. I think Alexa and Charlotte are gonna at least have these titles for a few months, but inevitably, I think they're gonna go with the Secret Service. Obviously, I'm going to have to go with from the Secret Service, obviously Piper Niven and Alba Fire. So that is my prediction. There is going to be Piper Niven and Alba Fire. It really only makes sense, and there's not really any other teams on SmackDown or on the women's side to really take these titles that are worthy of it. So I guess I'm gonna have to go Secret Service. Obviously, like I said, it's probably gonna be a few months before that happens, but inevitably, at some point down the road, it's going to be the Secret Service dethroning Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. So that is my final prediction: the Secret Service. All right, next up, we jump into the big titles over on SmackDown, and we'll start it off with the men's WWE Championship, or men's undisputed WWE Championship, which the current title holder is Cody Rhodes, and he just won it back from John Cena at SummerSlam. Now, on this previous episode of SmackDown after SummerSlam, we have had they've built towards going the Drew McIntyre route. And even before that, which I've already talked about this in a previous video, they've been building for this Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes feud for a while now. It's not just this previous episode of SmackDown. It's been for a minute now, or at least a few months by now. But now they're really starting to explore that idea more of going with the Drew McIntyre route with Cody Rhodes, and so that is who I predict is going to take this title is Drew McIntyre, and this is really something I'd love to see, man. I'd love to see Drew McIntyre as champion. It's always been teased for Drew to have a title, a world title at least. He had one last year at WrestleMania, but he got cashed in on by Damian Priest. But now I think they're really going to give Drew McIntyre a title reign. I mean, an actual reign where he literally can hold it more than a day or more than a few months at least. So I think now that's what they're going to do. And I don't think they're going to really have Cody Rhodes do a long title reign, man. I think Cody Rhodes is definitely going to lose this to Drew McIntyre, and then Cody Rhodes is probably going to take some time off. So I am inevitably going to go Drew McIntyre here. Once again, just something I'd love to see. Drew McIntyre is great in ring. I'm a big fan of McIntyre, man. So I'd love to see McIntyre take this title off of Cody. He definitely deserves another title reign. And man, this can lead in. Drew McIntyre can do so many things with this title too, man. So with that being said, why wouldn't you go with Drew McIntyre, man? But that's going to be my final prediction for that one. Drew McIntyre is going to dethrone Cody Rhodes. All right, and now we jump into our last prediction of the video. It is the Women's WWE Championship, and the current holder of this is Tiffany Stratton. She has just defeated Jade Cargill at SummerSlam. That match was really damn good. I was going into that match thinking it was not going to be very good, but it was really good. Man, I enjoyed that match. And on this previous episode of SmackDown, the SmackDown after SummerSlam, they've continued to build more for Jade Cargill versus Tiffany Stratton. So inevitably, man, that means I'm going to have to say Jade Cargill. I'm going to still have to go with Jade Cargill as taking the title off of Tiffany Stratton. It really makes sense. And I mean, if they're continuing to build for it, they're definitely gonna have to have a payoff, and Jade Cargill is inevitably going to win the title. If she lost at SummerSlam, but they're gonna continue with the whole Jade Cargill versus Tiffany Stratton, Jade Cargill must have to win at some point for them to continue to build this. They're going to make her work for it, of course. They're going to drag the storyline out more to show that Jade Cargill kind of being like an underdog, like, kind of showing it as like, oh, she can't really beat Tiffany Stratton, but at some point she finally does in the feud. And so obviously I'm going to have to go with Jade Cargill. Would I personally prefer to have have Tiffany Stratton stay champion forever? Yes, honestly, man, I've enjoyed watching Tiffany Stratton, man. But obviously the title reign is going to have to come to an end. You know, you can't just have a title reign run forever. Of course, I mean that's just useless. What's the point in having titles? So inevitably, man, they're definitely going with Jade Cargill. I think this one's just 100%. You know they're gonna go with Jade Cargill. They've kind of foreshadowed this for months, and I think they're finally going to pay it off with Jade Cargill, and she will inevitably become the women's WWE champion. And honestly, man, I'm not gonna lie, I think it'd be pretty cool to have Jade as champion. I think it's definitely going to be interesting to see her as champion, and honestly, I'd love to see it. All right, I can't deny that I wouldn't like to see Jade Cargill as champion, because honestly, I would. So yeah, man, my final prediction there is going to have to be Jade Cargill defeating Tiffany Stratton. We'll have to wait and see, but honestly, it's probably going to happen at Clash of Paris, most likely. But that is my prediction, Jade Cargill. Alright everybody, well you have now reached the end of the video. Thank you for sticking around. If you made it this far into the video, be sure to drop the word WWE Championship. Or drop the word WWE Championship, man, because that tells me you have made it all the way through and you watched the videos all the way through. So that means that you are a W supporter. But once again, though, hope y'all enjoyed. But before we get out of here, as always, like the video, subscribe to the channel, go follow the socials. Always links in the description of every video. But man, once again, hope y'all enjoyed, and I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.